Honorable Mrs. Fitri Amalia Sintasiwi, and all of my friends who joining in English for Social Science subject. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, greeting of your two. In this beautiful occasion, I would like to explain about historical material with the title as Proclamation Histories of Indonesia. And I hope all of you give me so much of attention during explanation. Thank you. Before explaining the essential material, let me read the text of Proclamation. We, the Indonesian people, hereby declare the independence of Indonesia. Matter concerning of transfer of power and etc. shall be carried out through in a manner in the shortest possible time. Jakarta, 17 August 1945. On behalf of Indonesian people, Soekarno, Hatta. More or less, the text of the proclamation is heard like this. The proclamation is an event with a very long series of stories in Indonesia, starting from the bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. The Allies dropped the nuclear in the central area of Japanese government. It is causing overwhelm for the Japan because so many civilians were victims. It's not only talk about physical damage because so much of civilians took another damage like motor nerve damage and thinking disorder due to nuclear, which can make a worsening the condition of Japan. In fact, it was recorded that there were approximately 80,000 people died of Japanese as a result of the nuclear bombing. The victims who fell were beaten evenly from children, infants to adults and the elderly. Few months ago, I have even seen how mentally and psychologically disabled the civilians of Japan are through the internet. They got mental and nervous disorders so that they live like a strange people due to atomic element was very impactful for them. And based the situation, Japan finally surrendered to the Allies. And for their role, Japanese colonies must be returned to the Allies. And for the next slide, is it with the title as Sutan Syahrir Hears Something. News of Japan, defeat of the Allies was heard among the Indonesian people. Sutan Syahrir, who overheard the news of Japan, defeat over the Allies with Japanese radio. After that, he immediately notified the young groups to immediately proclaim independence in the middle of a vacuum of power. The youth initiated by Sutan Syahrir came to Soekarno and Hatta to urge him to immediately proclaim independence. However, the purpose of the youth was rejected on the grounds that Indonesia's independence had to wait for a decision of the PPKI. There was a long debate between the old and the young, and all of them trying to make their opinion can be accepted by the others. However, because the youth didn't accept this answer, they intended to exile Sukarni and Hatta to the Rengas Dengklok. The exile of Sukarno and Hatta is its called even of Rengas Dengklok. And what's next? It has happened conflict between the old and the young. So there is a conflict between the old and the young, until finally the official in Jakarta looked for Sukarno and Hatta to attend an important meeting. So, Suparjo picked them up at Rengasing Lock and intended to bring them back to Jakarta with the guarantee of his life. And then, what the result of the negotiation? They were finally allowed to return Soekarno and Hatta to Jakarta, and the negotiations were held on the formulation of the text, the Proclamation, to prepare for independence. So, that they resulted in text of Proclamation which was read Soekarno at his home, namely at Pegangsaan Timur Street, number 1. Past a long journey, Indonesia finally was able to achieve independence with its own strength. Through the youth and the old of Indonesian people can breathe a sigh of relief over the colonialism that has occurred in this country for centuries. The proclamation of Indonesian independence took place as a sign that Indonesia was free from shackles of Japanese colonialism. The text of the proclamation was formulated by young people and proclaimers of Indonesia. Is it the same form as the text of the proclamation that we often recite today? What do you imagine if Indonesian youth people at that time don't care about the nation? Of course, till now Indonesian can get the independence, and all of us still live in the nuances of the Japanese colonialism. I'm very proud of them because at that time they were only a youth people of Indonesian, but have a good manner to love the nation, and they were an extraordinary people I know, and I always hope to God can give the best gift for them to the heaven, because Indonesian can get the independence until now and still kept by all of society of Indonesia. We should be really grateful because now Indonesia has independent. So let's feel the independence that our heroes have fought by doing positive things. So, for these reasons, let's continue the struggle of our heroes and Syahrir primarily as one of the inspirational youth figures in the past who had a strong determination to fight for his nation and country. The values of patriotism are always carried whenever he goes, and he never leaves it at all. By being a good colleges and or even more than a good colleges, we have all continued the struggle of our heroes in the past. Indonesia is strong. Indonesia is an independent with young people. An advice from Sukarno: a wise man never forget the histories of the struggle of his heroes in the past. So do not look into the futures with blind eyes. The past is very useful to be a mirror than the futures. Mrs. Fitri Amalia Sintasiwi and all of my friends, that's all my explanations in this occasion, and before closing, I'm sure that I have had many mistakes during speaking in front of you all, so I hope you all forgive me and not to forget me. See you later. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Setiap saat, setiap waktu